everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's story, I have a little bit of an announcement. Do not fast forward. It is not a sponsorship slot. It is to let you guys know that I've actually been asked to speak at a panel at GOA's Goals 2025 event that is happening in Knoxville, Tennessee in August. So make sure to go to their website and check that out. And to the people who asked me if I was going and I said no, I promise I was not lying. They just asked me last week. So if you were on the fence about going or you are already going, make sure to stop by and check out my panel. I have no idea what I'm saying yet, but I'll be there. All right, and now to today's story. News came in recently that DOGE has finally made its way to the ATF and plans to wrap up at least this first round of audits by July 4th. Now what that means, I can't really say because all the other work that DOGE did at other agencies, in the end, not much of it got slashed and there wasn't much follow through. Either Congress didn't do it or people fought it and not much happened. But this is what they're selling us as the goal here. According to the Washington Post, the original goal was to cut or change 47 regulations at the ATF in honor of Trump, obviously being the 47th president. But supposedly the number of changes coming is now over 50. According to the outlet's anonymous sources, this includes changing or at times completely eliminating regulations. We already know that part of the plan is a budget decrease and reducing the number of inspectors that go and pester FFLs by about 550. Of course, gun control advocates say that the roughly 300 inspectors that will be left won't be nearly enough to be sure that FFLs are following the law, and we'll see a huge crime wave because of it. But unless you're doing fun things with explosives, there's no laws around how often an FFL must be inspected, so an FFL might not even be inspected unless there's some evidence or suspicion of a possible crime anyway. So that's kind of a moot point. These groups are also ironically complaining that ATF cuts are defunding the police. My, how the tables have turned. We also know of the pitch to merge the ATF with the DEA, which I covered on Monday as a no good, very bad idea. Current speculation is that some of the upcoming changes could include changing the responsibilities of certain positions within the ATF, updating import lists, and changing fees or allowing them to be refundable. We saw a similar move in New Jersey, which has created some big waves, and I will hopefully be covering that one soon with some new information. Now, a DOJ spokesperson told the Post, as Attorney General Bondi has made clear, ATF is working hard to reduce regulatory red tape that burdens lawful gun owners and to ensure agents are doing real police work, hunting down criminals and gang members, not knocking on the doors of lawful gun owners in the middle of the night. Which would be nice because knocking on anyone's door in the middle of the night, or, well, their version of knocking is really kind of just breaking down the door and barging in, when the person on the other side of the door is armed, that never ends well for anybody. And you would think that after so many decades they would have figured that out, but apparently you can't fix stupid. Of course, all that remains to be seen, as there has been some good steps made. Rights restoration, for example, striking the zero tolerance policy and filing briefs in a couple big Second Amendment cases, though those briefs came with a catch, if you'll remember. But all that being said, supposed ATF General Counsel Robert Leiter, who is a Second Amendment advocate, is working with DOGE to oversee these new changes. At least that's what we're being told. One change that has been let out is an alleged simplification of the 4473, reducing it from 7 pages down to 3. Supposedly, a few of those questions will be combined and rolled into one, though some people say that they fear it could lead to more inaccuracies instead of less. That also remains to be seen. I would hope that at the very least we see an official repeal of every Biden-era rule and regulation. We have been promised those will go, but they're still on the books, and it's been months now that this has supposedly been coming down the pipeline. Even so, ATF rules are different than regulations and require a public comment period, as we all know. So even if announcements of changes are made, it's going to take a while. I am definitely interested to see what they come up with and how much of an impact it will actually have on gun owners. As a libertarian, I of course had very high hopes for DOGE. Apparently they were too high because none of them have been met. I am hoping that this is not a similar situation, but that at the very least, they deliver on these few things that have been promised. Only time will tell, my friends. Buckle up and hold on to your butts, and let's hope that we're not just served more disappointment. All right, everyone, that is it for this little video. You guys know the drill. For all of the algorithms, please do them. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there and happy shooting.